Welcome, welcome. This is the Calexit Congress meeting, open to everybody. Anybody can join the Calexit Congress, seemingly. There's some criteria. But then also, this is a discussion open to regular Californians. Rich, we see you. Your device is not connected, but we see you, brother. We'll be right back. Take a look at this message real quick. Silent Mike, how's it going? Jason, CEO. Rich, your device is not connected, but you're here. We see you. We are very pleased to be here today. Wanted to point out again that the new CEO, Jason Wright, has delivered. We have the Limited Liability Corporation formed. He has contacted other movements. He's traveled up to Oregon and Arizona, and we're looking at having him travel to Texas soon. He's in negotiations with the Texas Nationalist Movement to do that. Our online reputation was largely restored from Jason. He took over the channels and made sure everybody know that the crazy guy who said anti-California things is gone and is never coming back ever. We also launched the online certified courses. A lot of people weren't sure we could do that, but we did it. We will also be offering online NFT coins, and we have our merch site. The merch site is up, and we have constant new merch all the time. So that's coming up. And we have a new website, calexit.podia.com, which is pretty good. Pretty good. So that's all of that. And that is there. 1 second, sorry. Writing down notes. Okay. The other things, though, is that we have some projects. We're going to need to get on to the TikTok channel. That's another thing we need to move on to. That was an idea from one of our colleagues. Jason also has an idea for a 10 years of Calexit documentary, but we also need your help. So if you are creative at merchandising or artistry, we're looking for help on merch designs. We want to have so many merch designs, people can't even keep track of what's there. Because the merch is also logos and important stuff for Calexit. Also, online content. We have our Twitter page and our Facebook page, and we will be continuing to grow those. I do want to say real quick that the Congress is open to the public. Post comments, and we will cover. I just saw we had like 14 people watching, and then it got reduced to 9, and then it got reduced to 4 in about 5 seconds. So I'm not sure what the 10 to 11 other people who were only here for 3 minutes were looking for. But if you have comments, you want to talk about anything, post it. Post it, and we will post those comments and make sure they get up. Also, if you want, I invite people to the show all the time. So if anybody has any comments they want to have us cover, please post those, and we will cover
them. If I may, Marcus, real quick, we do actually have a TikTok. It is, I believe, official Calexit. There are either 2 or 3 short video clips that I had posted back when the elections were being held in the board, in the Congress. I didn't really get around to, and this was part of an executive decision that I made, was to put the TikTok account on the back burner for the time being, because we were focused more on the other platforms where we already had a very large following. Since then, we've got them back, and so it does warrant going back over to the TikTok and trying to build it. The thing that made it not quite so viable was actually that in order to do live videos on there, you have to have a certain following, a certain, fan count or something like that. And just starting off a brand new TikTok, it obviously is going to take some time. Got to get the word out there. So I guess this is the first part of getting the word out there, is letting everyone know right now, hey, go find official Calexit over on the TikTok and give us a follow. Maybe drop a message or a comment on one of the videos or something and let us know, who you are, why you support Calexit, anything really, as long as you're not a troll.
Okay, I'm trying to find it. It's called Official Calexit.
I believe that is the name of the TikTok channel.
Drive the oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. 1 second.
Yeah, official Calexit.
One second. Post comments. We will share. If anybody has any comments on anything, or you want us to talk about something, you can post it. You can come on the show. Just say so. Also, here's our new page. Official.
No way, Lieutenant O'Hara died. Oh. Her and what's his name? Captain Kirk. Shoot,
Lieutenant
I can't
Uhura?
remember. Yeah, they had the first interracial
Yeah.
kiss on television,
Yeah.
which was like super scandalous.
Yeah.
Oh my
She was
goodness.
also,
Someone
Michelle
white
something.
kissing someone not white. It's gonna be the end of the world. Yeah, that's America for you.
Greetings again, fellow Calexiters. This is another part of our coverage of the last year of the Calexit Congress and its form.
Okay, good. So Jason is already up.
Greetings, Calexiters.
That's a good one. I really like this one right here.
I was recently elected by the Yes
I think that's pretty good.
Calexit Congress to represent the Calexit movement.
Okay, so we have a TikTok channel. We need to start working on that. Devil War says guns. You want us to talk about guns? Well, I can tell you real quick that. Oh, here we go. It was Nichelle Nichols. Real quick, I'll do this. I was a huge Star Trek fan. I grew up on Star Trek, mostly because the Latinas in my family were inspired by Lieutenant Uhura. There were not many minority women in positions of authority or excellence back in the time. And so the Latina family members in my family thought that was fascinating, that a minority woman could be seen as an equal to everyone else, certainly Caucasian males at the time. And because of that, I was thoroughly inducted into Star Trek. So that particular woman inspired a lot of people in my family and forced me to drink that Kool-Aid before I even knew what I was drinking. So, Michelle, I will miss you. You were a gigantic impact to all of the tias y mi abuela while you were here. I know you were African American and they were Latino, but there was some sort of commonality of minority women and their lack of representation in modern American television that seemed to inspire people who helped raise me. So I will always remember you.
Yeah, and you know, she was her character was a lieutenant, not just some lowly peon private, right? She actually was up there on the bridge, on the command deck. Uh, same with George Takei.
Yeah.
Probably my personal favorite out of. I mean, gotta love Leonard Nimoy always, but uh, George Takei for me, I think, was my personal fave. Partly because of the facial expressions and the oh my.
Oh, the eye.
Yeah, but yeah, they Star Trek at that point in time was kind of leading the way for America to step away from racism and exclusionary tactics based on race. They kind of led the way with that, and maybe it's just a grand assumption, but like most big TV is made in Hollywood, right? And Hollywood is where? In California. So would that be California kind of, showing America how to not be a bunch of racist goons?
So yes, you're more correct than you know. As a super Star Trek dork, California features very prominently in Star Trek, and that's not an accident. So here's San Francisco Gate, which is the online newspaper for San Francisco Chronicle. Why Star Trek made San Francisco the center of the universe? It's because, so if you look at the Star Trek universe, it's all about uh, San Francisco and California. Like very specifically, they have that throughout the entire series, and that's because Gene Roddenberry had moved to California after he was a World War II fighter pilot, which is where he got the idea for Star Trek. Um, he was blown away by the diversity that he saw in California, and that's what inspired him to write the cast of the Star Trek. We had a black woman, an Asian man, a Russian man, uh, a Jewish person that was also very radical at the time. So California is not incidental. Gene Roddenberry was here. He saw the diversity here that inspired him to come up with the concept of the Universal Federation. He also was pointing at San Francisco because that was the original home of the United Nations, which inspired him for the federation of them and the diversity. So if you look at how diverse it was, that was directly because he witnessed California culture, and it was because he lived here. So we inspired Star Trek. Just saying, like that's not my opinion. If you look at the history, it's not a coincidence. Some of the behaviors of that show and how progressive they were, and the fact that the guy was here getting ideas before he created it. All related. You could even say the Star Trek universe would never have happened if Gene Roddenberry hadn't lived in California. No joke.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of very kind of progressive or forward-thinking science fiction television and movie, they tend to use California and especially San Francisco as like their capital and like where the grand alliance of all of humanity is stationed, right? Like it says to me that folks who are into science fiction, mainly into it because of the science, right? Make a fanciful tale based on, the use of factual what ifs. And a lot of those folks seem to be at least partly in tune with California values. It makes me wonder if there is an independent republic of, oh yeah, if there is a independent Republic of California once again, maybe we can make that science fiction into science reality.
Yeah.
Bring the United Nations central headquarters, global headquarters of the freaking world back home to San Francisco, where it started.
It's yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to look up Gene Roddenberry. Yeah, absolutely. He was inspired by us. He briefly attended Los Angeles City College. He flew bombers in World War II. He was a police sergeant on the Los Angeles Police Force. Then he went into making TV shows. 1964, he started to sell the idea of Star Trek to producers. So, absolutely, he was inspired by California in the 1960s and the incredible diversity that we had. Yeshua, absolutely. Just so that you know, my mom moved to California because Texas was racist. So did all my aunts. So I would not be here, period, if my mom did not have the exact same opinion as your wife. Isn't that incredible? They bailed on America because they felt it's not a good place for people who are minorities. And then they moved here. Literally, you're telling me the story about your wife. I didn't know that. Exact same story for the Ruiz clan from Tejas. So just saying. Cali is the place for mutt kids. 1/3 diversity, immigration, highest mixed race population anywhere in the world. We also have constantly, we're rated the most mixed race cities in America. I think Sacramento keeps winning of any place in the USA every single year. And we have the highest level of racial integration of any urban or suburban region in America. Not saying that it's perfect, not saying that we don't have problems, but we're at the forefront of creating that Star Trek universe.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Yes, folks, we do have problems. And look at how great California has been for quite some time. Look at the potential for how much greater it could be if we were able to actually work on, address, and solve those problems. We do have problems, but they're not world-ending problems. It's not like we're America getting at each other's throats over, I don't like what you believe and you don't like what I believe, so let's all pick up our guns and shoot at the same time. While America falls closer into Civil War 2.0, we're here in California. I mean, I'm currently up in Oregon, but, Calexit's growing, getting closer, and Californians, by and large, are not at each other's throats, are not looking at fighting Californian versus Californian. And that, I think, is kind of, it's one of the biggest visible differences that we can point out right now between California and the United States of America, is that most Americans are quick to violence and they build walls like Joe Biden. I mean, Donald Trump. Well, no,
Right.
because Biden's doing it now. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Joe Biden, who also started the program of ripping children away from their parents and locking them in cages like rabid animals. Wasn't that Trump? No, that was Biden. Wow. Jeez, what a return to decency, folks. Americans build walls and are quick to violence, even against each other, especially for just not liking what another person likes or believes, which, gotta say, America is supposed to be a place where it doesn't matter what you like or what you believe, you won't be persecuted for it. It's what America was supposed to be. California really, all of these things we've been pointing out, California is America the way that it should have been. Yeah, we still got problems, but we can fix them if we can get out from under the federal boot.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for giggles, I didn't know they did this, but here you go. There's a California class starship. There it is. So the USS Cerritos. It's a California class starship. This is in a Star Trek game. So just pointing out that there's a strong connection. San Francisco, California, the idea of diversity, the idea of the Federation of Planets that's based on the UN. Yeah. So as you know, Joe Biden is going to be rebuilding the Trump wall. So that came out recently. We'll be covering that soon at National Divorce, but that is a fact that Biden has kept kids in camps, concentration camps, just like Donald Trump, one of the most racist things ever Californians felt. And now this week, Joe Biden has announced he will be rebuilding the racist Trump wall. So that's two of the most racist things that Donald Trump did to Latin people that will be completely continued by Joe Biden in full. So what does that mean?
It's good that you point out the racist Trump wall, because when President Donald Trump was in office, the media, mainstream media, was all over calling it, quotes, the racist Trump wall. So why, for the love of God, for the love of anything and everything that is any bit decent in the universe, why, oh, why is this dude who's supposed to be the return to decency and the step away from racism going above and beyond at a point in time where America's economy is like in its final death throes, taking all of that money? And we knew, it had been analyzed in full while Trump was in office. How much is this gonna cost? Bazillions. And guess what? We've been sending bazillions over to, help Ukraine fight big bad Russia and stave off the evil Putin invasion, while Americans continue to suffer and need those stimulus checks that Nancy Pelosi promised us, that, she only couldn't sign off on because Trump was still in office. And, as long as he's still in office, we can't sign off on it because it might make him look better. But just wait, just hang in there through the holiday season, broke as a joke, unable to buy, Christmas presents for your kids and whatnot. And definitely don't go traveling out anywhere like most of the governors and high-end federal officials ended up doing. Definitely don't go visit your family for the holidays, right? Because, all sorts of stuff going on. But, at this time that all of this is compounding, why, oh, why is the man who's touted on his way into office as the return to decency, why is in his first whole year, right? It's still his first year, I believe. Is time moving faster? I can't really keep track of it anymore because I'm not keeping track of the dates and the times as much as I am like issues. But it doesn't seem like Biden's been in the office all that long. And here he is going, yeah, I need to secure me them Trump votes that will never come his way no matter what. Like he can do and say everything that Trump said and did. And Trump voters are not going to vote for him because he is Biden and not Trump. Doesn't mean they're not going to cheer as, the wall finishes going up and, all of that. But it's just, I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. This totally befuddles me. I cannot think of, for the life of me, one legitimate reason why he should go ahead and pander to the Trumpublicans, as they call them, right? Because ultimately, no matter what he does, they won't vote for him because he is not Trump. The guy they want is Donald J. Trump. Not Donald Trump Jr., not, Trump's daughter, not Trump's wife. They want Donald Trump. So why in the hell is Biden doing this? Well, when I think about it, the first thing that pops back into my mind is when Senator Joseph R. Biden cast his vote against desegregation, segregation being the practice of, separating people based on their ethnicity. Black people are not allowed in these restaurants. Black children are not allowed to go to these schools. They're only for whites. Stuff like that. And the country wanted to end that practice, seeing that it was fairly anti-American and violated all sorts of rights and whatnot. And there he was casting his vote, saying he, quote, quote, I don't want my children to grow up in a jungle, end quote. So, that racist old D-bag is now in the office and doing the same things that the last guy was doing that he himself said were racist. So Joe Biden needs to call himself out as being a racist piece of shit. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's
as a racist. There, see, I fixed it. My apologies, children.
One second. I got a comment here we're going to post. So, give me a second. I could clear up some banners. Okay. I was showing how, though, that when it comes to refugees, building the wall, kids in cages, and making sure to stop the ban on cluster munitions, which is the armament that Russia uses killing civilians in Ukraine, the Biden administration is basically at the same page as Trump. So cluster munitions, we're going, oh, those are horrible. Those are horrible. Let's stop those. And the Biden administration goes, no, let's not stop those. I mean, let's criticize it when Russia uses them, but we don't actually want to stop sales of those munitions to countries like Russia. Joe Biden. Kids in cages like Trump? Joe Biden. Expanding the wall like Trump? Joe Biden. keeping the racist refugee cap in place until he was so punished by the public media? Joe Biden. So for me, the question is, what's the difference for Californians between Joe Biden and Trump when it comes to protecting our values? What's the difference? That's an open question for anybody. What's the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump when it comes to protecting our values?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pick me, teacher, pick me. I think I know this answer.
Sure.
One is silver and the other is orange. What do I win?
The dignity of truth.
Oh, I already had that, though.
All right, hold on. We got a comment from Silent Mike. Posting it up here. When it comes to alliances in Washington, few are as unlikely as the common ground the Democratic Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders briefly found with the Heritage Foundation and Americans for Prosperity, two architects of conservative policies across the United States. The question we should be asking is this: should American taxpayers provide the microchip industry with a blank check over $76 billion at a time when semiconductor companies are making tens of billions of dollars in profit and pay? So much scheduled content. Do we want to, let's schedule? Well, our scheduled content was basically, we needed to talk about going on TikTok. We needed to talk about, we need people to review the courses. And I'm sorry, there's even more comments. Let me get this in real quick. Family, racist, oligarch, anyone who thought that people, something about Biden from Yeshua. Let me cover this real quick. Okay, now to the main thing. Oops, let me go to banners. Sorry, hide that. The main topics. Hey there. We need to get on TikTok. We need 10 years of documentary. We need help with merch designs and online content. Another goal was to get Roe v. Wade posts up on FB and Twitter, but I will handle that. I will work with Jason on that. That was another one.
Yeah,
there was a lot of good stuff.
my apologies for
no apologies.
having
No
missed
apologies.
some of the stuff.
No. We already talked about this. No apologies.
I know. I just want to throw it out there for the rest of the Congress. You and I talked, but I want the rest of Congress to know. I do what I can on the social media front because it is important that we maintain it. However, there are also 50 other crucial things that we've been working on that I've been kind of plugging away probably 18 hours a day or so for weeks on end. We've got a graphic designer, NFT maker and seller who is coming on board. We've got the physical NFT Calicoin tokens. Emperor AP of Aeternia Empire, who is making the physical tokens, doing the actual fabrication. He posted some pictures, I believe, on his Instagram, showing the first two first two Calicoin tokens that got minted up. They unfortunately did not turn out well. It's either sand packing issue or it's that the sand is too wet. But it's a relatively easy fix, and I know he's doing what he can. He's also got a very full plate, so long story short, it is coming. The first 10 the friendship tokens have already been paid for. They will be done and then sent to us, and we will be giving them out. That is a guarantee. It's just taking, a little bit longer, as all things do whenever you're starting something off from scratch. As far as the courses and review of the courses, I would like for our Calexit Congress members, the voting members of the board, to go and check it out. And, I would like for us to make sure that we've got it set up so that our Calexit Congress folks can go through it without any charge. And, basically the only thing we're going to ask for is feedback. And what'll you all get out of it, you might wonder? Well, this nice little certificate, certification that says that you know about certain types of law and certain not well-known laws, and you know the do's and don'ts and the legal, shall we say, guidelines, and that you too will be considered one of the world's experts on the matter, because the world's leading experts outside of the United Nations itself on this topic, that's us. That's who made this series of courses. And we made it so that we can get everyone up to speed. So you should be able to get to the exact mindset and place that we're at with being experts on this. So if you're a member of the Calexit Congress, especially a voting member, then please reach out to Marcus or myself and let us know that you're interested in doing the test run on the course, and we will make sure that happens. And again, all we're looking for from you is feedback. It also, it helps us to have all of our board members certified on this.
Absolutely does. Absolutely does. And we need the reviews, and it is free. So all you have to do is put your email in, and in return, you get free access to the course. It's all there at calexit.podia.com. That's calexit.podia.com. Whoops. Okay, that was basically it. We need help with online content, with merch designs. We're also working on a 10 years of Calexit documentary. We're also going to be working on TikTok. We also need reviews for courses. So if you can help out with reviews for courses online. Jason's absolutely right. If you can help out with reviews for courses, if you can help out with merch design, if you can help out with online content, we could use the help. We'll also be focusing again on TikTok and the 10 years of Calexit documentary.
We also need social media and, one, still in hunting for someone who is a social media master, who is in line with Calexit and is already an invested party, so to speak. Someone who's not just joining the organization and the movement. Obviously, no one's really ever comfortable handing over the reins of their entire, 80,000 person web, and saying, yeah, here, I trust you, even though we just met. So preferably it would be someone who has been committed and understands all of this stuff and is good with it. Also, transliteration. I'm talking Greek, French, German, Armenian, Finnish, Gaelic. Did I say Spanish already? Cantonese, Mandarin, Japanese, Amharic, you name it. If it's a language and it's not English, then we need transliterative services for it. And it's a pretty big ask, I know, but that's Duolingo. Okay, it's one of the things that raising all this money. I say all of this money. I constantly reference. Yes, we are in a business generating revenue mode right now. That is because we have never been that, and that is why our movement has never really had any funding. So now we're going to do this, and hopefully this funding will provide for being able to pay someone to do our social media stuff, being able to pay someone to design graphics, being able to pay someone to do transliterative service for us. I think it would be nice if, there are many, many languages spoken here in California. I think the two main ones are English and Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. And so just having our videos, even as we're live right now, be simulcast in Espanol, it would make a huge impact, I think. I see how much of the left wing, even California Democrats, much of the left wing does a lot of pander and doesn't really take the initiative, right? They wait for something bad to happen to the Latino community, and then they go out there and say, oh, we need to fix this. Send us more money so that we can campaign harder and get more votes so that we can stay in office. And from my understanding, partly based on what you yourself, Marcus, have told me, is that Latino folk know what that is and what that's about, by and large. And while some may fall for it still, most are pretty fed up, it seems. Most Latino voters of California, pretty fed up with, wait, you were in office, you were in power, you had the power in your hand, in that pen. All you needed to do was put it down on paper. And you could have prevented this legal atrocity. And instead, you let it happen so that you can use it to be a fundraiser for you, so that you can pander some more and get reelected and stay in power and continue to what? Do nothing. Continue to wait for more bad things to happen. More fundraisable bad things. And, I think that it would behoove us, it would serve us well to not pander and to show some initiative. Viva todos Californios. We love all of our California brothers and sisters. No matter what heritage they have, no matter what culture they carry, no matter what language they grew up learning and speaking, no matter what country they, their parents, their great 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 grandparents might have been from. If you're a Californian, you're a Californian. You're part of us, we're part of you. We are all one. We are a people. So, I think the more that we actually live up to that without having to be told, the better it's gonna, hit home with folks that we really do mean what we're saying here. Yes, we're running a thing to generate revenue, not to personally enrich ourselves, not for a third mansion. Shoot, I don't even have a shack, let alone a home or a mansion. And that's not even one of my main concerns with all of this. If we raise $1 million, it's not like I'm going to go use it to buy $1 million home. Some of it gets set aside for, paying the big bad federal tax man. Decent chunk of it, actually. The tax man cuts the total amount of money raised pretty significantly. Then the upkeep costs, right? Keeping the thing maintained. But then the rest of it goes to making sure that what we need that has to be paid for can be paid for and had. And I know a lot of people see it and they don't believe it because they're used to people, especially people doing, this champion the people, independence, sovereignty, whatever stuff. The people by and large are used to seeing those folks running those things do it for personal enrichment. While saying otherwise, it becomes very clear when you see the numbers and where the money's going. It becomes clear that it's personal enrichment. And I get it that a lot of people don't readily, willingly, very easily trust. I am one of those people. I don't readily, easily trust either. But at a certain point, people should really take note that here is a group of people who are really extremely dedicated to achieving the goal, the reestablishment of national independence for the Republic of California and her people. That is our goal. Our goal isn't to overturn the Supreme Court and get them all kicked out. Our goal isn't to get rid of both the Democrats and the Republicans and have some other party come up. Our goal isn't to get Hillary Clinton in, or Bernie Sanders, or Donald Trump, or Joseph Biden, or Kamala Harris. It's one thing and one thing only. California must be an independent republic for her people once again. We were at one point, long before any of us were ever a sparkle in someone else's sparkly eye. That being said, though we don't have anyone alive today in the world who was there for it, it doesn't mean that it means any less. We're talking about the lives and the livelihoods of 40 million people. We got roughly the same population as the country known as France. Vive la France! Viva California! Viva todos Californios! But that's the thing is, We have too many people to just overlook the majority. Very few people are really, gung-ho enthusiastic, 90% or better pleased with the actions of the federal government over the last 8 years. And you don't even need a poll for that. You don't need an actual truthable statistic. If you're a Californian, you'll know this because you're a Californian and you know other Californians and you're related to Californians. Chances are high that you're actually also from Californians. So when you live it, right? When you live in the shoes, it's easier to tell when you're stepping on a pebble or in the sand or in a pile of horse manure. When you're walking on the other side of the street and looking over, and it's maybe a hazy, cloudy day, maybe California's got so many large-scale wildfires going on, the smoke's so thick you can't even see across the street, which should be a familiar example to most of us, being that we had to live through that very recently. Well, if you're over on the other side of the street, it's a lot harder to tell if that was a pebble that they stepped on, if it was just a little bit of sand on the sidewalk, or if they just stepped in a pile of horse dung. So, as Californians, we need to stop listening to America and Americans. I'm going to go ahead and say the Americans. You can't do that. It's illegal. Well, actually, it's not illegal. It's only illegal if we use violent means. Thank you. We need to think for ourselves. We need to act for ourselves. We need to start acting in the best interest of not only ourselves, but the myriad future generations that will come. People grow up, they have families, sometimes they don't, but enough people do that it kind of outweighs the ones who don't. Populations increase, barring some catastrophic, worldwide disaster like World War III. But, if World War III doesn't happen, and if the Earth isn't swallowed up by the sun, then the 40 million Californians that there are probably going to make many millions more. Give it a few generations, there's no telling how many. It could be 50 million, could be 150 million. You never know. Because the population fluctuates with how good or not a place is doing, namely for its people. As the American federal government has been failing the people, the population growth is not quite what it used to be. In fact, it's been declining. It's no longer at this nice little magical number that makes us look like we're still on the right track and we're going to have people for a long time. And now it's looking more like, well, if this trend continues, we'll have negative population growth sometime in the next generation. That tells you very clearly, people don't feel like having kids. Why would that be? Well, because, a lot of people think about how expensive it is to have kids and, are my kids going to be born and raised in Flint, Michigan and drink water that will kill them lead to their demise before their 10th birthday? Are they going to be born and raised over in Florida, where, sure, maybe the taxes are better if I'm a multi-bazillionaire, but if I'm not, and, also the added caveat of if I'm not white, the prospect looks really bleak. And when you get to California, even with our problems, we've had people who've left California because they're fed up, right? Because we got some problems. But we still have population increase. People are still building families. That says very clearly, by and large, the general, attitude, if you will, of California is that we can go ahead and continue to make new lives, bring new lives into this world, because even with the problems we have, it's still okay enough that we don't feel like we're doing a disservice by bringing a little one into the world. By and large. I mean, there's always an exception to the rule. Someone might want to nitpick and say, well, what about these kinds of people? What about those kinds of people? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the, by and large, overall, theme going on of, if the population is continuing to grow, that says that the people, for the most part, have faith and hope in their entity. And if it's diminishing, that says they have lost faith and hope in their entity. So America, diminishing population, people have clearly lost faith, lost hope in America. California, however, not the exact 180 opposite, but much different story. There is still hope, and I'm glad about that. But that little bit of hope that we have left, we need to hold on to it. We need to secure it. We need to cherish it and nurture it and grow it before we lose it.
Okay. Silent Mike wanted to talk about that's why we're here. Yes, that's why we're here. Everything you said, Jason. Silent Mike would like to talk about upcoming midterms. This is from Silent Mike. With 100 days to the midterms, Democrats are trying to defy the odds as Republicans boast of coming wave, compounded by what many accept as a political fact of life, that the president's party is doomed to a poor showing in his first midterm after taking office in all but the most exceptionally advantaged places. There also mentioned that there will be a Trump revival. He is widely expected to run for president a third time in 2024. That's exactly what we have predicted here, but people said we were crazy for saying that. And the further ascent to the anti-democratic movement around him has deepened the sense of a foreboding. We've also been saying that the Republican Party is now the Trump Republican Party. And so when the Republicans win in midterms, it's not just going to be the Republicans won, it's going to be the Trump ideology won in midterms, and that will set them up for the presidency in 2024. We were going to campaign after Republicans dominated in midterms and Californians ran scared, backed to Calexit, given that they've already shown interest in Calexit with Roe v. Wade. And then we were going to campaign on watch out for Donald Trump for the next 2 years after midterms. And this story from Silent Mike, actually from CNN, backs up all of the predictions that we have been making. Thank you, Silent Mike. This is an excellent, excellent article. I'll show it to everybody now. Sorry, the mouse isn't working so great. Here you go. 100 days to midterms. Democrats try to defy the odds as Republicans boast a coming wave. This just came out July 31st, 2022. Fundamental weakness has been compounded. President's party doomed to poor showing in this midterms. There you go. Midterms.
Well, I guess the Dems might have stood a bit better of a chance if they hadn't pumped millions into making sure anti-abortion Republicans make it into offices around the states.
They certainly did undercut their message of being the force for abortion rights when it came out that Joe Biden was going to nominate a anti-abortion judge after the Roe v. Wade leak decision came out, and he and Nancy had backed, like you said, a couple candidates who were anti-choice. So on the one hand, the Democratic Party is saying this is horrible and the Republicans are disgusting for taking a woman's right to choose. And then on the other hand, Joe Biden tries to appoint a judge who would do the same thing. And Nancy and Joe try to get a couple politicians in office who would do the exact same thing. So that's all public knowledge. That's not Alex Jones. That is widely reported fact. And you have a lot of progressives going, why the hell would you do that? And can we take you seriously on your messaging for Roe v. Wade? When you add into the fact that Kamala Harris has been seen as largely a joke on Roe v. Wade and a disappointment by all American women, and that most American women were disgusted by Nancy Pelosi after she asked for $15 right after Roe v. Wade was overturned, not a good look. I mean, that was their thing to come back. And they have punched enough holes in that bag that it's going to drip water all the way to town. So, as we would say in the Valley. So, I mean, you don't blow apart your main attack angle by doing the same thing that the opposition does. You just don't do that in politics, period. But the Democratic Party did. So, think what you're going to think. Yeah, exactly. We covered that. Joe Biden. Now, just like Donald Trump, do you like kids in concentration camps? So does Donald Trump. So does Joe Biden. Do you like the racist wall being built? So does Donald Trump. So does Joe Biden. Do you like caps on refugees to prevent them from coming into America, regardless of whatever conditions, rape, murder, torture they went through? So did Donald Trump. So does Joe Biden. And hey, do you think it's a good idea for Russia to be given all the weapons it needs and for us to, take a step back on making sure that civilians aren't blown apart and mass atrocities? Well, Joe Biden does too. He's against the ban on cluster munitions, which is one of the major things killing civilians in Ukraine. So radically different than Donald Trump. Thank you. You're right, Yeshua, and you're right, Jason. And thank you, Silent Mike. That was a great comment. As we've been saying, midterms, it's about midterms, people. That's what we are focused on. 100 days to midterms, 3 months. Republicans are going to win. Democrats are going to lose. And it's going to be the Trump Republican Party that wins. As Californians freaked out when Donald Trump was elected, we expect the second great freak out with November midterms, where Californians have to sit back and go, so we got Donald Trump unelected, and the party still loves him and then took back control of Congress. It's almost like we can't get rid of the Trump ideology. You vote him out in the 2020 elections, and the same ideas right back and in a popular majority in America in 2022. That is great for the Calexit movement, because we have been saying it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a foreign government. It was your fellow Americans. They really believe this stuff. They've always believed it. Been telling you that since 2014. Midterms is when it's all proven widely to Californians, and they have no place to go but to accept the conclusion that Calexit has been put forward for the last couple of years. It's over. It's done. We are your last best hope, Obi-Wan. There's nothing wrong with being Russian or Ukrainian. California has a ton of Russians. It has a ton of Ukrainians. You know why? Because we're California. We have tons of diversity. So we're not taking a side. Just before This is
Yeah.
also
Well, and so I don't want to cut the meeting short. I have stuff I need to do personally in personal life. I am going to have to bow out for now from the meeting, but do please continue. Do please continue. I just
sure.
want to bid everyone a good and safe day wherever you might be. Please stay safe, stay hydrated, stay as cool as possible, and don't forget to report any smoke that you might see coming from fields or forests, because it's that time of year. Viva
Stay
todos
hydrated.
Californios. Sí se puede.
I love it when you do that. I love it when you do that. Stay hydrated. It's very hot. We'll be kicking off soon. We can keep the channel open for discussion, but we'll be kicking off soon. Anyways, I wanted to point out, this is from Silent Mike again. Before teeing off on Thursday, former President Donald Trump defended hosting a controversial Saudi-backed golf tournament at his Bedminster Club in New Jersey, just 50 miles from Ground Zero. Nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have, he told ESPN. 1 second. We got some other comments coming in here. Trump admin bypassed Congress with $8 billion arms sales to Saudi Arabia. True. And, you know, the thing is like, this is what we're talking about. This is a perfect point of what's the difference between Biden and Trump. So Biden went and basically said, I'm going to look the other way at you murdering and dismembering a journalist, and we're going to be cool with a fist bump. And Donald Trump basically wanted to look the other way at Khashoggi being murdered and wanted to be cool with the prince. So another Biden-Trump, same dude. And I agree with you. It is disgusting to sell weapons to Saudi Arabia, given that they were part of the 9/11 conspiracy. It is disgusting that the George W. Bush Republican administration allowed them to get away and shielded them from any investigation. But what I think is most disgusting is that General David Petraeus, who is the director of the CIA, said that maybe America should start working with Al-Qaeda. I'm not making that up. Yes, the people who caused 9/11, the guy who ran the CIA, General David Petraeus, went to Congress and goes, I know that 9/11 thing happened, but maybe we should start working with Al-Qaeda in Syria because they could help us with our conflicts with the Syrian government and Russia. I was shocked, but he said it, and no one criticized him for it. And there's evidence that the U.S. government is actively working, or did actively work, to help Al-Qaeda affiliates in Syria, because at that time they were against Russia. I thought we were never supposed to forget 9/11, ever. Guess we did. Guess we did, and it was at the highest levels of American administration. Kind of disgusting. All those people had to die, and we had to say, remember 9/11. And they forgot at the first next conflict that came into across their head, their brow. Wow. It's almost like those 3,000 Americans died for nothing. Sad. Very sad that the American establishment did that. Yeah, Saudi's involved in 9/11. Silent Mike says Saudi Arabia is involved in 9/11. Of course they are. George W. Bush shielded them. You know, and they basically are still allies with America. They're a really horrible regime. I mean, come on, they behead people for sorcery, right? And we're still dominant allies with them. Inside job, what? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Daniel. Make a comment, we'll cover it. They wanted to topple Bashar Syria. Yeah. Well, of course you did, Yeshun, because you're a smart man. You were aware of it. I think the American government should apologize to the American people for suggesting in any capacity that it was okay to work with Al-Qaeda in any capacity, And if they did anything in any capacity that in any way aided any known al-Qaeda affiliates in the Syrian conflict, that they need a direct apology to the American people for aiding and abetting known enemies who murdered 3,000 Americans. Yeah, I want California to be independent, but that is a crime, and it is a crime against humanity, and we do not need to be associating in any capacity with these people at all. And we did. Nobody really wants to hear that, but totally did. In Syria, everybody looked the other way. Russia bad, al-Qaeda good. Get them. That's madness. That's madness, and that's disgusting to the 3,000 Americans who died. Disgusting. By the way, that was partly the Obama and the Trump administration who jointly did that. So that's not a Democratic or a Republican thing. That's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. Democrats and Republicans both did that. Obama and Trump, Syria war, Democrat, Republican, both looked the other way, helping al-Qaeda. That's America. By the way, what was the number one location, according to Homeland Security, for a 9/11 style attack after 9/11? So who did Michael Chertoff, director of Homeland Security, say right after 9/11 was the most likely to be attacked in another 9/11 attack? Anybody want to take a guess? Let's see if yeah, anybody got that? No, Mike, it's not LA. It was all of California. Michael Chertoff, head of Homeland Security, the first director or second director of Homeland Security, said right after 9/11, the number one place to be attacked by a terrorist is California. And California is attached to America, where both Republicans and Democrats and CIA directors think it's a cool idea to aid and abet al-Qaeda terrorists who helped kill Americans in 9/11, when California is the most unsecure to terrorist attack because there were multiple airports and seaports. America decided, let's go stir up the hornet's nest more, and let's start working with the terrorists. Does that sound like a safe foreign policy for California? Do you know where the biggest ISIS attack was in all of America? California. Do you know who opposed invading Iraq, that the second time, that caused stirring up this hornet's nest and caused al-Qaeda to be formed and caused the expansion of that caused ISIS to be formed and caused the expansion of al-Qaeda? It was the Iraq War. Do you know what state was most against the Iraq War? California. Do you know what state most suffered from the Iraq War? California. I mean, is anybody getting the pattern here? Like, we have a decent idea about what should be done, and we lose being associated with America. Just think about that, bro. Think real hard about that. United States and Saudi Arabia friendship is a disgrace. And Bush did it. Trump did it. Biden did it. And, I know we like to go easy on Obama, but Obama did give the Saudis satellite images of schools and buses so they could drop bombs on Yemeni children. That is a fact. Nobody wants to hear that. I get it, because Obama was all good. But Yemen children were blown up by Saudi bombs because America gave targeting assistance to them. And if it wasn't for American targeting assistance, which was done under Obama, then lots of Yemeni children in hospitals and schools and buses would not have been blown up. So, yes, we did that. That was totally us. That was totally Obama. So, that's America. We're cool. America's cool with Saudi Arabia. They can literally be behind 9/11. They can get Americans killed. They can chop up reporters, and Democrats and Republicans will both go, hey, bro, we're still cool, right? So midterms are coming up, though. I think midterms coming up is the most important thing. So Trump's going to be coming back. Midterms are coming back. Midterms are going to go to Republicans. California's going to freak out because it's going to be the Republican Party. So this article from Silent Mike is fantastic. I want to show that one more time. This is what it's about, folks, right here. So that's what it's about. The president's party is doomed to a poor showing in midterms. And Trump's revival widely expected to come back for a third time. And if the Democrats lose midterms, Trump will definitely be announcing. That's what we predicted here. Okay, well, and we can't man up about judges. I'm not sure what that means. What do you mean by that, Yashun? 1 second here. San Bernardino County. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is also in the news. Nope. 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 Okay. San Bernardino County supervisors are urged from California to secede from California and form a new state called Empire. So this is in the news now. When you type in secession, San Bernardino County said, they're not getting enough attention from Sacramento and they want to break off. This is the exact same proposal that Jeff Stone had. So there was a congressman called Jeff Stone, and he was also from the same San Bernardino Riverside area. And he also proposed splitting up and becoming a separate state. Absolutely nothing happened with that. I would also remind people that the 2 times that Tim Draper, the billionaire, tried to propose ballot initiatives to split California up into multiple states, the Public Policy Institute of California did surveys of California voters or likely voters at those 2 junctures and found 66 to 73% of Californians were against splitting up California. So if you want a state to break off from California, just like Jefferson in the north and here's San Bernardino in the south. And again, this is a replay of the Jeff Stone proposal around 2004 for Riverside and San Bernardino to leave, and also another version of the new California plan to split off the interior. 2/3 of Californians are against this. It's never gone the other way. There really isn't much support for that. Okay. Trump got one too many. They changed the rules. Obama should have gotten America. Trump should have gotten Barrett. Fair enough. Oh yeah, I posted this on Instagram a couple weeks ago. One another can't have both. Fair enough. But do you know why Trump got all this? Is because the president can select Supreme Court justices, but the Senate has to approve them. The Senate is dominated by small rural states. We've been talking about this for years, since 2018. The Constitution is broken and cannot be fixed. That's what we've been saying since 2018. Constitution's broken, can't be fixed. Why? Because about 45 states have outsized influence through the Electoral College and the way the Senate is selected. The Electoral College gives them outsized influence on the presidency. That's why we've had 2 unpopularly elected presidents. And the Senate gives them confirmation power on the judiciary. The judiciary then can help with interpreting the laws that they want. So small states have a dominance in America and are out of line culturally with coastal places in America, and is specifically out of line with California culture. And therefore, the Constitution's broken. 35 states had outnumbered power, and they're going to continue to do things like that. And there's nothing you can do as long as you're part of America. And Yeshua agrees. I appreciate that. Unless you're going to have an amendment process, and you're going to need like 4 or 5, right? So you're going to have an amendment to get rid of the Electoral College. You're going to have an amendment to redo how the Senate's picked out. You're going to have an amendment to redo the judges on the Supreme Court. So that's 3 amendments, or 3 gigantic votes of Congress you're going to have to get passed with 80%. So good luck on that. And they go, no, your Calexit idea is radical. Stacking the court and blowing apart the Constitution from the way it's been designed and unchanged for 2 centuries, that's reasonable. Really? When was the last amendment we passed? Long time ago. You're going to need 3 or 5. We don't even agree with the interpretation. Calexit is only 1 amendment. You're looking for 5 times the number. Just saying. Yeah, they did stack the courts to go after Roe v. Wade. And that's the problem, is that they can do that. That 35 to 45 small conservative states who Norman Ornstein, the demographer, said are going to get more white, more rural, more isolated, and more Fox News loving all the way up to 2045 or 20 years from now. So this problem you're documenting goes on for 2 more decades into the future before it ever gets better. That's 2 generations. Never going to get better till 2045, around, as we said, the time that there's a Mars fully functional colony. That's a fact. Nobody wants to hear that. It'll come to bite them unless they run away from the Union. Sure. They lost their defense from injections. They had it anyway handed. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to call it there. We're going to end the broadcast. You don't have to leave. We're going to end the broadcast, but you don't have to leave. If anybody has any comments, please post them. I do find it a little strange. Hold on real quick. I don't support any of U.S. President Joe and Donald are awful, and I don't care who before president becomes. It's too late. We don't want anything to do. Yeah, that's exactly right, Daniel. Totally right, Daniel. You're right. One second. You're right, Daniel. You are a true Californian. Okay, that's it. We'll leave it there. You don't have to leave. We'll keep the channel open. I did want to say that if there's any comments, if anybody has comments, share them. I do find it interesting that at the beginning of the show, we had 14 people watching, and then it got dropped down to 4. I was wondering, who are those 10 people that were watching? And why did they leave so quickly? Who were those 10 people watching at start and left within the first 3 minutes? Oops. 1 second, sorry. Who were those 10 people watching who left the first 3 minutes? I guess we'll never know the answer. But there was a lot of people, and they were here, and it seemed like they wanted to see something. We said, hey, you could comment, you could post questions. You can comment on the YouTube channel, the Facebook channel, the Twitter channel. We're linked into all 3 of them. So there was 3 platforms for people to comment. And they could also go to YouTube directly and comment. And they could also email me, ask to join the show. And nobody said anything on all 5 forms of communication channels when we said you can post any comments you want. Nobody said a word. So I'm not sure what those 10 people are interested in. You had the ability to comment on Twitter, Facebook, email, YouTube, or come on the show directly, and you chose not to. Not sure what that was about, but we'll see you next time. And keep on Calexiting. Things are going to get really big at midterms like you've never seen before. And Roe v. Wade was just a test.